Good day to everyone. So today we're going to talk about approaches to language teaching, and we're not just going to talk about second language but first language as well. And I'm going to focus on the present day teaching methods. So we have here the grammar translation method. This is the traditional or classical way of learning a language, and it's still commonly used when learning some languages. Some countries prefer this style of teaching, and the main idea behind this method is that the students learn all grammar rules, so they're able to translate a number of sentences. Just like its name suggests, this method of teaching English is grammar heavy and relies a lot on translation. This is particularly common for those students who wish to study literature at a deeper level. Next, we have audiolingualism. So we have here another term, audiolingual method. Okay, but it's otherwise known as the new kid method or army method. It's based on a behaviorist theory that things are able to be learned by constant reinforcement. However, just like in the army, when someone behaves badly, or in this case, bad use of English, the learner receives negative feedback, and the contrary happens when a student demonstrates good use of English. This is related to the direct method. So I'm already mentioning another method under the outline of approaches in language teaching. We have the direct method because it's related to audiolingualism. And just like its predecessor, it only uses the target language. The biggest difference between the audiolingual method and the direct method is its focus of teaching. The direct method focuses on the teaching of vocabulary, whereas the audiolingual method focuses on specific grammar teachings. We have the next one, cognitivecode. The cognitivecode approach of the 1970s emphasized that language learning involved active mental processes, that it was not just a process of habit formation, the assumption underlying the audiolingual method that came before it. Lessons focused on learning grammatical structures, but the cognitivecode approach emphasized the importance of meaningful practice, and the structures were presented inductively. So we have the examples. The rules came after exposure to examples, and we call that inductive. Otherwise, it's deductive. There was, however, little use of examples from authentic material. It's like the indirect way of teaching. You give a sample sentence and let the student know the grammar rule behind it. So we have the natural approach. The natural approach is a method of language teaching developed by Stephen Krashen. If you could remember his 5 hypotheses of second language acquisition, and Tracy Terrell in late 1970s and early 1980s. It aims to foster naturalistic language acquisition in a classroom setting, and to this end, it emphasizes communication and places decreased importance on the conscious grammar study and explicit correction of student errors. Efforts are also made to make the learning environment as stress-free as possible. In the natural approach, language output is not forced, but allowed to emerge spontaneously after students have attended to large amounts of comprehensible language input. The natural approach belongs to a tradition of language teaching methods based on observation and interpretation of how learners acquire both first and second languages in non-formal settings. Such methods reject the formal organization of language as a prerequisite to teaching. So we have the next one, the total physical response, or best heard with TPR. So this one, it's an approach that follows the idea of learning by doing. Beginners will learn English through a series of repetitive actions such as stand up, open your book, close the door, and walk to the window and open it. With TPR, the most important skill is oral comprehension, and everything else will follow naturally later. So this is commonly used in preschool, kindergartners, and children who are in their early ages. So we have the next one, Suggestopedia and Suggestopediaandesuggestopedia. Suggestopedia is a teaching method developed by the Bulgarian psychotherapist Georgy Lozanov. It is used mostly to learn foreign languages. The theory applied positive suggestion in teaching when it was developed in the 1970s. However, as the method improved, it has focused more on dissuggestive learning and now is often called Suggestopediia. Suggestopedia is a portmanteau of the words suggestion and pedagogy. A common misconception is to link suggestion to hypnosis. However, Lozanov intended it in the sense of offering or proposing, emphasizing student choice. So this one focused on this suggestive learning. Okay, and we have the one next to the previous one, the principles of interactive teaching. So interactive language teaching stresses the importance of providing learners with more activities to interact directly with the target language, to acquire it by using it rather than to learn it by studying it. It requires the teacher to step out of the limelight, to give a full role to the students in carrying out activities, to accept all kinds of opinions, and to tolerate errors. On the other hand, the students are expected to listen to others, the teacher and other students, to talk with others, and to negotiate meaning in a shared context. So these are my references, and thank you so much for listening. Goodbye and have a nice day.